move on to the next speaker, my good friend, Dr. Ajay Deshpande. May I have Ajay Deshpande video on? Yeah, Ajay has joined us. We are good friends and family friends also. Now it is a pleasure to introduce Ajay, always, very young, charming and bubbling with lots of energy. And he's an ideal entrepreneur, I would say, to emulate for everybody. Ajay did his BBSc from 92 from Marathwada Agriculture University, Parbhani. Joined as a trainee veterinary officer in Tarakeshwara Hatcheries Group as a pure line breeding farm, and went up to as a GM production in 97, followed by GM technical. But he resigned his job in 2000. He took another divergent path, as I would say that, in orbit, you put a rocket thrust to go to an entrepreneur. Entrepreneur journey is not an easy journey. Like a satellite, you have to take a rocket jump to do that, and started consultancy services, then started his own breeding farm in 2004 with Inbro, then moved on to establish a partnership firm in 2008-9 called Siddhi Vinayaka Poultry Breeding Farm and Hatcheries. And in 2010-11, he started a private limited company with 10,000 breeders. Now he has moved on to 1 lakh breeders. So now you can see he started his entry into a placement of broilers as an integration. From just 1 lakh, he has moved on to now 14 to 15 lakh per month. It's a great credential for a veterinarian who has done such a great effort. We believe that now few veterinarians are entrepreneurs. I think Ajay is the leader and a president with VIP, Veterinarians in Poultry. So he has done great effort. And to give you another hint is the turnover he has reached into now 300 crores. Proud to say that a veterinarian touching a 3th century. So 3rd century maar diya Ajay sir ne. Abhi all over to young, and always you can watch in his profiles, gym structured, emulating body. And I really admire Ajay. We met him many times. All over to Pune now. We will fly to Pune to join Dr. Ajay. Right. Bye-bye. All over to Ajay.
Thank you, Dr. Mahesh. Hello. Thank you, Dr. Mahesh.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Ajay. You can share the screen.
It is always pleasure to watch and listen to you, Dr. Mahesh. You are a source of inspiration to many. Thanks to you.
Thank you
for this one. And let me share the screen. Can you please?
Yeah, you can share the screen.
So you want to share, Ajay sir, or we can share from backend?
Just a minute. Put on.
So data management.
Vijay?
Yeah.
We are yet to see the screens here, sir.
Yeah. Can you please share on behalf of me?
Yeah.
Please.
Okay. So Mr. Pasha, can you help us?
Basha ji?
Yeah. Now it's coming. Can you move to slide 1 of Dr. Ajay's presentation? Yeah. This is slide 3. Go back. Yeah. So Dr. Ajay, the presentation is up there.
Yeah, I'm able to now. So good morning, everybody. And thanks, Dr. Jayaraman, for the nice presentation. So let me take a leaf out of Dr. Jayaraman's presentation. So if I invite Dr. Jayaraman to my farm and ask him to please design a vaccine programs or schedule for my breeder stock. So what basic requirements he will ask is the data, history, whatever data I have with me. So for any vaccine program to decide or for any business, data is the baseline. So my subject today's presentation is based on importance of data and traceability and for the efficiency enhancement. So how Dr. Jayaraman has got the experience by observing so many data, and these data, they generate the information. So on basis of data, information, knowledge, you take the decisions. And once you decide or you pass the judgment, it converts into action. And this action again enhances your experience and it generates more and more data. Next slide, please. So this is the overall flow chart of the integrated farming. So when you consider the integrated business or poultry farming integration, these are the main divisions. Hatchery, second is breeding farm, breeding stock, feed mill, then broiler farm, then processing of live birds or its live bird marketing. So next. So in all this flow chart, the heart of every operation is the hatchery. In all poultry companies, hatcheries play a vital role because it connects through the poultry chain. They are the key link between breeder farms and broiler farms. Next slide. So what data we need to keep at hatchery? It is a breeder flock number. What is the number of the breeder flock? It is 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 7. Then it is the age of the breeder flock. Then egg loading time and date of the setting. Then average egg weight, what you are getting. Then time taken to achieve desired temperature in status. It's a fumigation and its strength. It's a turning, how many times. It's a candling and disinfection protocol. Then again, at hatchery, it is a transfer loss, the number of chicks hatched, percent hatch versus standard. It's a bursting and blasting number of eggs. It's a culls, egg breakout analysis, grade-wise percent of chicks, and chicks rates. So let me explain. If any problem is there at commercial level, chicks level, you have to trace back it through the hatchery and breeder farm. As well said by Dr. Jayaraman, if you, for example, you are addressing a problem of lame chicks in first week at a commercial broiler farm. So you should have enough data to trace it back to the breeder level. There are many reasons for the lameness. Maybe calcium phosphorus deficiency, maybe some diseases like avian encephalomyelitis. So for that to achieve, you need to have a data with you, a perfect data with you. So this egg breakout analysis will give you the overall review of your breeder flock health and the commercial broilers. Next slide, please. So next is the breeding stock, where we should keep the data of maternal antibody titers. That's the chicks you source breeder stock from where you stored. You should know the maternal antibody titers of your breeder stock. Then, as soon as you receive the chicks, you should know the MG and MS status of the flock. Then you should have a vaccination program in place with you, and you should have the titers against all the diseases against which birds are vaccinated. And this comparison means how they behave. Then weekly mortality, feed consumption, weight gain, cumulative feed per bird. These are all the routine parameters you have to maintain. Here the important is titers against all the diseases, which birds are vaccinated, and its comparison. I have a habit to have a titer report after every month of each and every breeder flock which I have. So what it indicates. So in the meantime, if you take a titers on 1st of August and 1st of September, if you draw the titers, so in between whatever vaccinations you have done, so you can judge the response of the vaccine by seeing the titers. And you can very well manage your vaccination program and readjust or reschedule it whenever needed. Next slide, please. In breeding stock, you need to take this record also. It is seasonal problems encountered. Many times what happens, particular breeder farm suffers a typical problem in particular season only. So you need to have that on record so that you can trace out to the root spot. Then whatever routine medications you are giving, then whatever sanitizers you are using at the farm, then whatever disinfectants you are using, batch to batch comparison means last batch breeder flock liquidated and this batch running batch. Say at 34 level, what is the comparison with the last batch? Where your performance is improved or you're decreasing your performance. So this keeps you always motivated and will motivate you to perform better than the last batch or than what you are previous. Then fertility, record of fertility. It is not necessary that fertility can be determined after candling only. You can estimate it at day 1 only. If you break out the broken eggs, you can see the germinal disc. On the basis of that, you need to keep the record. So I have a habit to keep this record. For example, I'm telling you, if suppose my flock number 35 is there, and it is housed in 4 different farms, in a group of 5,000 each. So the eggs from each shed is being set in the hatchery with a certain coding, What it encourages, what does it mean that in 4 sheds we have different insemination teams, And when we look at the infertility, and to my surprise, I found that some is having a fertility of 97 and some is having the fertility of 95. So I can catch up those insemination teams which are giving me 95% fertility and try to improve the performances so that improve the overall performance of my farm and my organization's profitability. This is one of the example. Next slide, please. This is the feed mill. This is again, it's a very important factor. In feed mill, you can keep as many as data you can. If I list it, it will have 4 or 5 slides. So data required for the measurement of plant efficiency and power consumption, fuel consumption, exercise intelligence. Then process loss, what you feed to the feeder and what you get feed output. That is called process. So what it is, it determines the efficiency of your plant. Then moisture loss. For example, this process loss, in case of process loss, my process loss is 0.3 to 0.4%. If at some plant, if it is 1% process loss, with the current price of feed price of 50, that 0.7% into 50 rupees, so your feed cost will be more by 35 paisa than what I am getting, with the same set of formula. So this determines and this drives the profitability of the organization. Then moisture loss is also important. Then proximate analysis of all the residual raw materials, supplier-wise, it's very essential. So I have a database, full database, huge database of the suppliers, list of suppliers from whom I am purchasing soya DOC, maize, etc., every raw material, MBM, maize gluten. So these suppliers, we can identify the supplier, good suppliers, by keeping this data with you. For example, I'm telling that I purchased soya DOC, 46% from Indore, from Latur, and from various places. To my surprise, the soya DOC supplied by one supplier was having more than 1.5% of oil. So this is not good for the supplier, but this is beneficial for me, because in soya DOC normally you can find not more than 1% of the oil. With the same price, I am getting 0.5% of the oil extra from the supplier, which means I'm getting more energy also with the same protein. So amino acid profile of the soya DOC is the same, but I am benefited by the extra energy that the supplier is providing through the material, supplied material. So this database is very important. Now, many people, many big feed mills have the NIR machines with them. So as soon as the material arrives, they draw the report within 2 minutes. And many suppliers, what they do, they stack the raw material. They stack the raw material according to the amino acid profile. And they formulate based on the amino acid profile, which is again will drive you through more profitability, because 46% soya and 47% soya. There's a lot of difference. You better know, because the soya prices have touched 100 rupees. And 1% of protein, you can calculate energy and protein, how beneficial it is for you. And with the same formulation, considering 46% soya, 47% soya will be having an over formulation effect, which may not be needed. Next slide, please. Previous one. This broiler farm integration farm. I love these broilers, It's a wonderful featherless broiler. So this is a broiler farm integration farms, what's it really. So many records can be kept as far as integration is concerned. So here, one more important aspect which I want to highlight is a daily feed consumption and weight gain. This is the most important data, because on a record sheet of every farm, we record daily consumption and weight gain. So when you know what you are giving to the bird, what food you are giving to the bird, and what outcome they are giving, that is most important. If you are sure that, if you are confident that, if suppose my bird should consume 150 gram feed, and in return it should give 90 gram of weight gain, and if such things are not happening, then something must be fishy, because farmer must be stealing some feed, or some mismanagement is there. So that can be traced back, So weekly mortality pattern is again one more important aspect. Then vaccinations and medications, its cost and its impact on overall production cost. Then growing charges, this is again most important one. Then you should list down the top performer and worst performers, because we have a grading system, because A+ grade farmers are there. Then A grade farmers are there, which are performing better than what our standards are. Then there are few farmers which always perform, they are ranked into C and D grade. So you can either, if you list out those farmers and try to improve them from D to C, C to B, then it will definitely help in elevating the performance. Then this traceability is an important aspect, because if you have data and in some complex situations, some complex problem is there on farm, and if you are confused, so to sort out and come to the conclusion, you need to keep the data with you, and if you have perfect data, one can able to reach out to the root cause of the problem. For example, what I said is early chick mortality. There are so many reasons for early chick mortality. It may be related to the breeding stock's health, or hatchery hygiene and sanitation. So we should have this link. And if you link all this data together, the traceability becomes more easy. And once you have the traceability at your hand, you can solve the big problems in a simple way also. Another example is the respiratory problem in broilers. For example, MG and MS are the main cause of respiratory problems, as good as IV titers. Again, if you managemental problems are ammonia level in the farms, so you need to segregate it and reach out to the root cause. For that, traceability is very important. Then fertility and hatchability. As I mentioned earlier, you need to have a record of the insemination team, how much fertility they are giving. And for example, lameness is again one more problem. which can be sorted out through traceability. Next slide, I'm unable to move on. So this slide, I love this slide, you know. So if you have data with you, data generates information, and with the help of information and knowledge, you can plan the action. And if your action is in place, its impact will be positive or negative, maybe hopefully positive most of the times. So there could be many gaps in between this. I'm trying to highlight these gaps, you know. One is the design gap. Design gap, you have the data with you, but you are unable to process it into information. So you can't go ahead, or organization can't go ahead if design gap is there, you know. Then this data generates information, and on the base of data and information, if you have good sound knowledge, and if you don't have the knowledge, then information can't be converted to action. That is the expertise gap. So we need to look into these gaps, you know. If your data, information, and knowledge both together, but inability to apply it, that is called leverage gap. So you will not be able to perform the desired action, though you have data, information, knowledge with you. And if you can't perform all those steps, your impact may be negative. And if you have all this in place properly, then the impact is good. Next slide, please. So to conclude, poultry industry over the years has evolved into a modern state. The traditional farming system without proper data keeping, data analysis, and traceability doesn't exist nowadays. You have to have it in place. The organization can't grow without having its data system in place. Livestock farmers, feed mills, slaughterhouses, hatcheries, and all departments of poultry company are becoming more and more adept at capturing data. The more data you generate, more information you will get, and with proper knowledge, you can convert it to the benefit of your organization. So that's why the true value is generated from the information that can be obtained from the analysis of this data. Next slide, please. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak for 15-20 minutes.